All right, good morning. This is going to be the 6.9. I haven't skipped anything. I'm going to talk about the 6.9 relationships and meaning first, and then we'll go back to 6.8 because you'll see why when we get there. Today we start talking about trig ratios. What is a trig ratio? Trig ratio or fraction. That's all they are. Trig ratios are trig fractions. Many eons ago, when they developed the theory of math, they came up with trig ratios, and what they noticed is, hey, if I only know one side of a triangle and I know one angle, how do I find another angle or another side? And they use trig ratios. How they came up with the name sine, cosine, and tangent, I don't know, but that's what they came up with. The sine ratio, okay, and we'll abbreviate sine as S-I-N, but S-I-N-E is how you spell it. It's equivalent to the leg opposite over the hypotenuse. That's the ratio. That's how you create that ratio. The cosine, we'll abbreviate this, you'll see in a minute. Leg adjacent over hypotenuse. And the tangent ratio, this is equivalent to the leg opposite over the leg adjacent. So you might want to pause and write that down, maybe at the top of your paper, as a reference sheet. When we look at how to create these ratios, in the task in number 1, the only thing I would suggest that you do for here, and they've created the names for you, is I would put the word leg up here in front of opposite. I would put word leg in front of adjacent, and I would put leg in front of opposite and leg in front of adjacent, at least for the time being. We don't always have to do that, but we should. Okay, so how do I create these ratios? Well, the sine, and you notice it's abbreviated S-I-N, the sine ratio is of A, of angle A, okay? This would be the angle of reference, or think of it as the starting point. All right? A is the starting point. It is going to be equivalent to the leg opposite over the hypotenuse. And this is important one of the reasons why I had you go through and label the legs and hypotenuse of other triangles. If we do that really quick, we have a hypotenuse here, we have a leg here, and we have a leg here. Well, if A is my starting point, what is the leg opposite of A? It cannot be 10. 10 is a hypotenuse, period. So over here, I'm going to put opposite of angle A. This is the leg opposite of angle A. So if I'm going to create this ratio, the value of the leg opposite of A is 6. Okay? This is the hypotenuse, obviously, so 10, 6 over 10. There's your first ratio. However, this you will not find on a test. Why? Because 6 over 10 is reducible. 2 goes into 6 3 times, 2 goes into 10 5 times. That ratio reduces to 3/5. Cosine, abbreviated COS, of A is the leg adjacent. Well, this would be the leg, well, we don't need to put leg. Leg is already there. We can put adjacent ADJ to angle A. This is the leg adjacent to A. So the value of the leg adjacent to A is 8. So this is equal to 8 over the hypotenuse, which is 10. Again, that you will not see. Angle 2 goes into 8 4 times, 2 goes into 10 5 times. This is what you would see. So reduce, always reduce. And then when we look at the tangent ratio, okay, that is equivalent to the leg opposite of A, which is 6, over the leg adjacent, which is 8. Again, 6 over 8 is not as in simplest form, so we reduce that to 3/4. How about the sine of B? See if you can go through and figure those out. Okay, so B is a different starting point, right? This would be opposite of angle B. Therefore, 6 would be adjacent to angle B. And we create our ratios. So the sine of B, again, B is a different starting point. So the sine is opposite. Look back if you have to, because hey, I forget these every year. All right? Opposite over hypotenuse. So the opposite of B is 8. The hypotenuse is 10. And you reduce accordingly, 4/5. The cosine of B is adjacent over hypotenuse. 6 over 10. Reduce that. 3/5. And the tangent of B. The tangent is leg opposite, 8, over adjacent, which is 6, and reduce that to 4/3. They're just ratios. That's all you're doing. Okay? See if you can go ahead and work on the next one, question number 2. Make sure you label the triangle, create your fractions, and reduce as much as possible. All right? There's your intro to basic trig. One other thing I'll leave you with, which is one of the things we're going to talk about, SOHCAHTOA. What is that? SOHCAHTOA. This is just a little thing to try and help you remember what the trig ratios are. So, sine, opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent, opposite over adjacent. Right? So, SOHCAHTOA. You could write that down at the top of your paper. Write that down somewhere. Hopefully that'll help you remember what is going on. Here's your intro to basic trig.